Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pranav Rao, and in today's video we will be solving a room of TryHackMe called as Shaker. This room is completely based upon a Log4j vulnerability. So let's dive in. Yeah. Okay, so this is the page of the Shaker room of TryHackMe. The first thing, let me just click on the start machine before reading through the description. Okay, because it's going to take some minute or so to load up the IP address for us. And I have already connected the OpenVPN connection to the site, so that should not be an issue. We'll be able to communicate to the target system. Okay, let me just zoom in once again, and it says here one of our devs has been experimenting with a web server and wants to see if his security is up to snuff. Rumor has it he updated all his dependencies, but did something fall through the cracks? Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see. So deploy the target system by clicking on that. Yeah, we just did that. Let's go through the tasks too. It says, can you defeat Bob's security and get past through the barriers? Get the shell and find the first flag. So they've also given us a hint for us to look at. It says this one needs some careful enumeration. My favorite way to start is to walk through the application as a normal user and look everywhere. Perhaps Bob left something lying around that he shouldn't have. So I guess Bob is our target victim here, and he's the one maintaining the target server. So probably he has done some updates and some changes to the target system. So we have to check his security. How good is Bob in securing his systems? Okay, so we have got the IP address. Let me add another R. I don't know if it really requires so much, but I mean, it's better that we don't have a connection being disconnected in the last. Let me take a sip of water. Okay, so I'll move this aside and then open a terminal here. And let me browse to my folder of TryHackMe and see what are all here. Okay, I will create another folder. I want to say YouTube, if I can get it right. Then I will say Shaker. Then I will also be needing some Nmap folders. Let me just create if there are any parent folders required. Okay, so YouTube, Shaker, and then Nmap. That's good. Okay, I'm in this folder right now. So what we'll do is, since we have got the IP address, I will click on the IP address. Then yeah, copied it. Good. Then see if I can ping the IP address here. So do some 5 pings. That's enough. Okay, we are able to interact to it, which means our VPN is connected and is working. That's good. So yeah, I'll just clear this, and first thing what we will do is look for some open ports that is present in our target system. So -SC is a switch which I'll be using for looking at some basic script scans in the target system to probably look for some headers or some kind of output what will be generated by that port, something like that. This is going to do its script scanning to the target system by specifying this option. So -SV is going to be looking for the version number of the ports which are available. So once it discovers some port number, it's going to look for a specific version of that port. I want to also look into that. So -SV, then nothing but I want it to run really fast. I don't want it to be spending a lot of time. So -T5, then verbose output. So I want to see what is exactly happening. That's it. I'll just then paste the IP address, and then I'll say output everything as shaker.nmap, just in case I need to see the output later. So I'll press enter, and that should do all the scanning and should start. Right away we see 2 ports, so port 22 and port 8080. Port 22 is basically for SSH services, where if you're trying to connect to a remote server, you need to have a connection to it. So it'll give you a prompt to be able to connect that. So it also requires username and password, which means that we will not be enumerating that first because we don't have a combination of username or the password. Even though Bob looks like to be our user, but we don't exactly know about it. But port 8080, which seems to be like a web server or somewhere a website is hosted, which is an interesting place because port 80 is a place where you will usually host any HTTP service, but port 8080 could be also serving some websites. That could be a potential target that we can try to exploit. I'm just waiting for the nmap scan to come up. Let's give it some seconds or some minutes to load up. That should give us the output somewhere. Okay, it says 50% done. That's good, but it's taking too much time. Come on, nmap. Let's make it really fast. I guess I did not have to give any the out. I mean, looking for the version numbers. But anyway, let's just wait for a couple seconds. Yes, we got the output. So here, as we already discussed, we have port 22, which is for SSH, and port 8080 seems to be serving a HTTP proxy, which means that it is passing a website which has port 80 into port 8080 for its hosting its web application, and we see the contents of the web page to be printed out here. Let's go through this web page a little later, but scrolling down we see port 9090, which seems to be closed, or maybe there's some firewall which is trying to block any connections attempted there, or else it should have not shown our output, but it's an assumption that there's some firewall or something like that. But okay, uh, all these are fine. Let's go with port 8080 itself because that is hosting a web application. Let's see what exactly does that contain. So I'll clear my terminal and say sudo nano, and then I will say etc, then host. Okay, basically this is for giving a domain name to our IP address. As you can already see here that I had my older IP address to the domain shaker.thm. Let's add the new IP address in here, and then yeah, this is how it should look. Let me add h there. It got deleted when I I guess something happened there. Okay, let me, yeah, shaker.thm. That should be good. So press exit, I mean control X, Y, and enter to exit from it. And you can even see that once again from printing it out or using the cat command. So here's it. Okay, let's copy this domain and then open up browser here and then say http shaker.thm on port 8080. Okay, here it says shaker.xml. Welcome to the premier XML shaking website on the market. This site will help you to shake up your plain boring XML files by throwing your tags around. What are you waiting for? Shake up your XML today. Okay, sounds interesting. Let's look at what can we do. So for XML file, what we'll do is let me create one XML file. I'll say mkdir xml, and inside that let's me go here and I will say nano and nano. I'll say test1.xml. In here I'll probably give some tag like info, and then I'll also close the tag info, and in between I'll give something like, oh, my keyboard seems to be acting a little weird. Okay, inside I'll give something like username and another username tag. I'm just closing it. NAME. Why did R come up there? Uh-oh. I guess my keyboard is acting a little weird. uh okay, that seems to be fine. I'll say Pranava, and here I'll say last name, and then specify that once again. Last name, I'll say Raf, and doing what? I'm hacking, so doing, okay, hacking, that's good. Okay, so let's save that. So if you look at my XML file here, it says info and then username, last name, and then doing is hacking. So I will open this here, choose a file. Is it the right location? Yes. Okay, good. So open, And okay, we have shaken up your files. Here you go. What do I see here? I see a XML version, something is there, info doing is moved up, and last is there itself, the last name. Username has been moved down. So they've basically jumbled our XML content here. Looking at the download here, it just gives back our no, not our, but the jumbled XML file here. Okay, something fine. It's working. It's doing something. But what next, right? So okay, looking at the source code, there's nothing there. What about here? We get a comment which says added some brute force protection to the log folders. They will be in a folder suffixed to a by a totally secure random 4-digit pin. Bob. Oh, I mean, Bob has given us a comment in the source code of the page where we shake up our XML file. He says, added some brute force protection to the logs folder, which means that there's some logs folder in this page. Can we try to browse that? It says not found. Okay, let me go back there. They will be in a folder suffixed by a totally, sorry, the brute force protection. Okay, logs. Okay, the logs will be in the folder suffixed by the totally secure random 4-digit pin. And that's what Bob says. So that means there's a folder called as logs somewhere in the browser here, or somewhere in the web server, which is suffixed by some 4-digit pin. Interesting. Well, let's go there, because that could be our indication to go where, right? So let's look for some folders and files of this web server. I'll use puff for it. So I will say Pranava Rao tools, and then fuzzing list, sec list, discovery, web contents, and then raft, medium, and then files.txt. Then also specify the host here or the URL. Let me copy this and then replace it there, remove the mix and say fuzz. So okay, basically what I did is that I specified my word list where I have some bunch of dictionaries of popular file names that will be present in a web server. And then I'm specifying the URL where I want to be fuzzing or looking forward for some finding some files there. So that's where I've set fuzz at the end of this address. Now press enter. That should start looking for some files to be present. We see style.css. Okay, that's good. But honestly, since I've already solved this machine, you can see it here that you would have seen in the beginning at least that uh, I have finished this room. You will not find any interesting files that we can actually continue forward. So what I will do is I'll kill that and clear the terminal. Open the same thing, but this time I will look for some folders here. So instead of files, I will replace it with folders. Folders or directories, sorry, yeah, directories.txt, and now press enter. So here we see a folder that has shown up to be debug, right? So we get a folder called as debug. Now if I come to the browser and try browsing through that folder called debug, it just redirects to the same page, the original index page, but it goes nowhere else, the debug file. So, but basically, if you go with the general terminology or the mindset of a developer, usually the debug folder contains some kind of logs, right? So, what I'm assuming is there should be some folder called as logs or something like that, and with some 4-digit pin inside it, because that's what is the description that is said here, that a folder is suffixed by totally secure random 4-digit pin. So yeah, why not look for this kind of setup, right? So I'll copy this URL and I'll kill this folder. But before that, what we need to do is we need to generate some 4-digit pins. I mean, we need to start from 000 to 4 times of 9. So what I will do is I'll write a Python script here. I'll say nano 4.py. I mean, that will generate a pin for us. That's not a thing. Let's specify a shebang. Okay, I'll say user. I just forgot that. Which Python 3 user bin Python 3. Let me just copy this directly. So copy, then nano let's replace this, and here I will say for I in range from 4 zeros to 1000 with 40, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so basically I'm saying I want something from the range of 4 zeros to 1000, but if I just print this directly like I, that will start from a single character of 0. I'll just show that here. So if I say python 3 4.py, uh, if I scroll up somewhere, oh god, this is too much. So one second. Let me put that into a file. I'll say numbers.py. Sorry, numbers.txt. And if I print the head of this numbers.txt, you can see that it starts from a single digit. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get the 4 digits there. So I will say print. Before I print that, I will specify it with some formatting. So 0, then I'll say 0 to 4. Then coming out of that dot format mat. Okay, I'll say I and then close that up. So with this, I guess it should do my job of printing 4 digit characters. Yeah, head dot numbers. Yeah, so it does. So if I look for the tail of it, it says the same thing. So yeah. Okay, so I have the 4 digit numbers now. Now what I will do is I will say that I want to do some brute force on that. So W, I will say this folder itself. What is it? Numbers dot. Hey, come on, here itself. Numbers.txt. Then the URL is going to be this one, and I will replace the number with fuzz. So it says locks and then fuzz. Now pressing enter, we should be somewhere hoping for the pin to show up. Let's wait. It takes some time. There we go. So we got the pin of this logs folder, a secure pin which is 2986. Let's copy that and come to the browser here, say logs, and then paste this here. And we see the logs. Okay, this is good. Um, we see auto load is disabled and all those information there. It's responding to anything at port 8080 and all such information. Basically, it's logging all the information that is given to us. And after getting this page here, I went with a long rabbit hole of looking at some, what do I say? Looking at some XSS vulnerabilities. So I went to, let me just show that, all payloads, all things, or yeah, that's what it's called as. Yeah, payloads, all the things. Yeah, I went to this folder here, or this repository here, and went through their XXE injection, went with all the kind of XML tactics and all. If you, yeah, I'll just show you a demonstration of how does that look. So if I try to copy this code, I mean, any random code is fine. So I will say nano test2.xml. And if I paste this in here, XY, enter, and then come to the browser here, choose a file and test2.xml, open. It says the file could not be passed, but you will see in the logs here that it tried to take it in. It did not. Okay, it did not even try to take it in. So it just blocked away it straight away. So it could not be passed. Or any such payloads. Let me even just copy this one and see, or this one. Yeah, let's copy this. Echo. Does it have any content which would spoil it? Okay, no. Oh yeah, it does have. Okay, so rm test2.xml and say nano test2.xml. Paste this in here, xy, enter, And then if I try to upload another thing, so I'll just resend it. It says could not be passed, and it says again logging the file. So it logs it in, but it doesn't pass it, or it doesn't does do the any job of jumbling it or anything like that. And you can also see here our logs of uploading our files, jumbling it, and all those things are here, right? So all the logs are present here. I went with the rabbit hole of trying to go through of what could be the possible way of exploiting it, or any some file upload vulnerabilities, all those things. But with some help from the community, I went to the Discord server of TryHackMe, and then asked the creator as well as some of the other people of hey, I'm stuck here, what should I do next? Or I tried all these things, did not work, what should I do next? They told me that interestingly, I did not know, someone just pointed out that, okay, so if you come here, I'll just go to the network section, then reload it. Let's go to the home page, that'll be better here. And if I open for the facon image, you just show me that image, right? So okay, you can see it somewhere here. Yeah, this image, can I open it here somewhere? No, I can't open it. But yeah, this image should have been something that I should have observed, it seems, which is interesting because I that's the first place that I will ignore because it's custom. But this room, as it was also uploaded during the time when Log4j was a big thing, right? So it was some 1,000 days ago that this particular room was launched by the user Hydra Hydra Hydram. Okay, I'm sorry, Hydram. Or they actually told me how do I pronounce his name. I forgot it. I'll call him Hydra. That's enough. That's enough. So Hydra had launched this room during the time when Log4j was a big thing. So Log4j was a vulnerability of logging applications, and then it was just present everywhere. It was a big buzzword in back in 2021, the December time. A lot of content creators. It was just covered everywhere because the Log4j was something which was prominently found everywhere, and this room was launched during that time itself. So this anyone looking at this would immediately identify that to be a Log4j. If I just Google search Log4j, Log4j, yeah, and look at some images or something like that. Uh, okay, I don't see it anymore now, but basically, that was Apache. This is the Apache's color theme and Java and all those things. So yeah, that was a hint at Sims for knowing that this is a page where Log4j is present. There's a Log4j vulnerability here. So yeah, thanks to the community. If not, I would have not be able to solve this machine anyway. So yeah, Log4j is present. Now, what I did was, I do know something about Log4j and did work on it, but not in great detail. So what I did is I went to TryHackMe itself. That's another room from TryHackMe called as Solar, which was written by John Hammond. So he had expressed the way how this vulnerability works. Solar, yeah. This room basically talks about how Log4j is and how does it work and all those things. So John Hammond has written a very amazing way of reconnaissance and then discovery and all those things here. You can go through this. I recommend that before you solve this particular room, you go through this, because I'll be skipping some of the steps because I assume that the environment is built. They explain about how do you build all those environments for exploiting this. So just go through this block. I will not be continuing. I mean, I'll not be going through it. But here, what I will do is I'll copy the popular command for it, which is going to be exploiting the Log4j vulnerability. What I will do is I'll generate a XML file here. I will say nano log4j.xml. Yeah. And then here I will say a tag called as log4j, and another thing as log4j Okay, and then I will paste this in here. So basically what this does is it's going to try to communicate to an LDAP server of the attacker's machine. Let me put in my IP address. So 10.17.18.22 and some port. So it's usual port of LDAP server. If I can see it here, I'll just go through it. So it is supposed to be under the exploitation somewhere here. Okay, let me copy this thing. I'll be able to see it then. Open a text editor here. Okay. It's not port 8000, but what I will do is just a second if I can load it. Okay, so it's here. So what I will do is I will specify it to port 1389. Basically, that is the port number where LDAP servers are hosted there. So just for the testing purpose, I will go with this XML file itself. It says log4j, and then I'm binding with this shell. What is this payload? You will understand if you go through the Solar module. I'll just enter that, and I'll also give some location or something like that for exploiting or just going through it. Let me come here slash log4j. I mean, just some random location that you can browse for. So I'm just giving that location, and I'll set up a listener port here. So I'll say a netcat lc, okay, lvnp, sorry, 131389. Okay, that's right. So what exactly is happening here is, yeah, I know it might have been too confusing, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enter a popular payload of log4j. If I'll just kill it here, and then cat log4j. This is a popular river payload which will get us a reverse shell of a log if there's a log4j present in the target system. So that will get us a reverse shell by using a LDAP server. Basically, that's what is intended for. That's why it was categorized as a those CV scores were marked as 10 because of that reason. Because just by having this and then uploading this small payload into any input field would give you a reverse shell to the attacker. It did not require any other things. You just had to enter this payload and it would just give you a reverse shell. So that it was that dangerous. So we'll be just trying with the same thing. I'm just setting up a listener, hoping that I will get some connection back or something like that. I'm just setting just to see if it's vulnerable or not. So what I will do is I will click on choose a file, and this time I will say log4j.xml and then click on open. It says the uploaded file could not be passed, but if I come to the logs, I see that it says the file is created, and here, okay, that's nothing. Okay. That's fine. That's interesting. Let me, what we'll do is that could be because it's somewhere trying to bypass. So there's some kind of filter which is going through what contents are being passed there. So we have a bypass method to it. I will open it here under the section of bypass. Yes, bypasses. There are lots of payloads here. So we will use one of these payloads. Let's copy this. How do I know it's bypassed? It's because it's logged here, but then there is nothing being shown to us, right? So if not, it would have not even been giving anything there. So that's the reason I'm just trying to see if there are any bypass methods there. I'll come here. I'll open another side-by-side window itself, and here I will say nano log4j.xml instead of log4j. I will, yeah, that itself, sorry, and replace all the contents which is here with my own thing. I'll say log4j, then close it, and again now close it, log4j. Here I will paste in the bypass code and replace all these things. I don't want RMI, I want LDAP itself, LDAP server. Am I doing it right? Yes. Then I'll specify my address. So 10.17.18.22, and then I will say log4 shell. Okay, that's uh just me adding some log4 shell. Okay, now I will close it. So control X, Y, enter, then ls. Okay, now try to upload the same file. So cancel, come back, and then choose another file, log4j XML, open. Okay, that's good. So it did work. So it gave us the output here, and looking at the logs, we see the XML to have loaded up there. What about our listener? Oh, no hit here. So what is the reason of that? Let's just see cat log4j.xml. Oh, I forgot to mention my port number. That's the reason. Okay, that's that's bad. Let's edit that again. Nano log4j XML. Let's add the port that I wanted to connect. So 1389 XY, enter. Now I will upload the file back once again and then check. So log4j XML, open. Okay, the browser is stuck, which gives us some kind of indication. It says it has logged the file, and we get the connection here. So if you can see, we get the netcat session says connected to the some from unknown location, which is basically the target server, which means that this is completely vulnerable to log4j attack, which is great for us because we can try exploiting it and try getting a reverse shell from this. Okay, I killed the session. Now what I will do is I will generate a little better payload for uh, basically trying to exploit this. Now the steps are a little complicated. I recommend you that you go through this blog post here, or the room of TryHackMe called as Solar here, where they explain about how do you set up this environment and then how do you work through it. So I'll just copy paste from the commands from here basically to set up my system. Let's go to exploitation, and yeah, so we'll be using something called as Marshall sec. Basically that is a LDAP server. Right now here we don't have a LDAP server. That's why we got a terrible connection here. You could have, even though you enter any command, let me just run that, and once again upload the file back. Yeah, resend that. You see, I can't do anything. I mean, this shell is not interactive because it's not a LDAP server. What is happening through the payload that we have entered here? Yeah, I entered here. What is it? log4j.xml. So this is trying to connect to some LDAP server and then looking at this IP address and then this URL, but not exactly an LDAP server is what is communicating to it at 138 port number 1389. So what I will do is I will change this thing to be able to interact with the LDAP server, but in the backend I will have a some kind of a Java file which will be executed from the LDAP server, and then which will give us a remote shell to be working with. I know it's complex, but that's why this room is also tagged as hard. Okay, so first thing is first, let's set up a LDAP server. I have something called as Marshall sec, which is a tool which can be used for setting up LDAP servers. So Pranava tools, and then if I see here, that's called as Marshall sec. That's the folder that we'll be using. Okay, so uh, come here, and then you don't have to go do all these things. You just copy this part of the payload. I'll copy that and then paste it in here. Remove all these things and replace. Yeah, let the port 8000 be. That's where we will be hosting our file name called as exploit, which will be containing a Java content of uploading some codes to the server and then getting us a reverse shell. So I'll just do some changes here. Let me open the terminal here this big, and then change the your attacker IP to my attacker's IP, which is 10.17.18.22, and then the address there. So let's divide the terminal equally for us and then press enter. and it's listening on 1389. So we now this is the LDAP's default port number to be listening on any of the incoming requests. We have that done. That's good. So next, what I will do is I will come here and then generate a exploit.java code. That's what we will be requiring right now. So I'll copy the contents. Yeah, I will do it here itself. So let me go one folder back and then ls here I will do. So nano exploit.java, and in here I will just copy the contents of what is here. Paste it in there. That's good. Okay, let me just edit the contents here. Okay, yes, and attacker's IP address, I'll just change that to my IP address is 10.17.18.22 and the port number is 999. What is exactly happening here is this Java code is going to specify that whenever LDAP server is triggered, it should be running this exploit dot class file. That's why we have specified it to be exploit here. And then it's going to be running this Java file in the server. And this Java file is going to tell it to run netcat session and then give us the bash script to the address, to our attacker's address on port 999. So this is only assuming that netcat is already installed in the target server. We need to try that right now. So yeah, we'll just run that, control X, Y, and enter. That should be it. Now I'll just compile this Java code. So the command is here. Just copy that, then paste it in here, and that has compiled. You can see that we have the exploit.class file. That's good. So which means that all that we have to do is to start a HTTP server to host all these files and then to listen on the port 999. That's it. I will open a part of the terminal right down here itself. Control R, I guess. Oh, not R. Control D. Yep. So here I will set up a listener. Paste it in here. And it's listening on port 9000. So now what we need to do is we need to just upload the XML file saying that just connect to this, right? So come back here and then probably even just refreshing this page might do the job. So resending the file. So we see a request coming in the LDAP server. It says LDAP reference to for log4j, and it's redirecting to this exploit.class. Yeah, and here it says that it has got an exploit.class request coming up and has taken it. But we don't see any connections coming back to us, which is an unfortunate thing because which means that there is no netcat present in the target system. So yeah, that's a bad thing. But it is also a good thing because we have Java in the code. So when you have Java in the server, which means that in case there is no file there, we can download it there. If there is no permissions given to the files there, we can assign permissions there. But that's the reason because class or exploit.class file was accepted by the server, which means that Java is running in the backend, but just that the code of netcat did not work through. So what we'll do is we will modify the exploit.class in such a way that it's going to be taking some binary files which is present, locally present in my system, such as maybe busybox, and then it's going to run the busybox file into our into the target system and then give us a connection back to us. But before that, we don't know where exactly this we need to be uploading these files, right? So what we'll do is let's change the XML file in a small way where I'll just open another terminal here and go back to the file where I had saved my things. So TryHackMe instead of Solar, please go to YouTube in here to Shaker and to the XML file. So what I will do is let me cat out the log4j XML here and I'll copy it to log4j and I will name it as log4j1.xml. Uh-oh. Okay. So here I will edit the log. Okay. Nano log4j 1.xml. Oh, did not take nano properly. So nano log4j.xml. Here I will modify this to talk about the environment instead of just browsing through this, because anyway LDAP server is there, so I can specify it to say that I want to know the environment that it is present on, I mean the present working directory of it. So I will specify this. The LDAP server is going to be receiving this log information. Now I will come here and then home. So choose a file. I'll say log4j1.xml, open. And okay, did not give anything there. Okay, why? Oh, it was log4j.xml that I modified. Yeah, it was the log4j module which I modified, not this one. So go to home, choose a file, log4j.xml, open. And yeah, we get the request here. It says app. So app after the root directory app, and then it's going to be probably an uploads folder because all our files were saved in the uploads folder. If I can see somewhere, no. But yeah, going here, it says uploads. So uploads is the folder where all the files are saved, which means we do have permission to upload anything there. So with this concept, what we will do is we will write another exploit.class file. We'll change the nano exploit.java. I'll just exit from here and I will delete the exploit.java code and then modify it to say exploit dot Java, because I don't want to be editing all those things. And I have a Java file which will do the same thing what I described right here, which is to upload or take a binary file of. Let me open some text editor. Yes, and replace it here. Okay, so what this Java file does is it's going to be importing all the required packages, and then it's going to be using something called as an exploit as a class, which is a file name. Then it's going to be taking our IP address, the target's IP address, the attacker's IP address. So 10.17.18.22, that's our target's attacker's IP address, which is our system's IP address. It's going to be taking this IP address and then creating a file path to be uploading, or the URL path for uploading BusyBox to the system. So it's basically taking this address and then the place where it needs to be pasting it or be saving the contents of the BusyBox file. So it's going to go to apps and then uploads. Apps is, that's why we discovered it from here. What is the working directory of it? And then uploads, since we can see it here that all the files are stored in the uploads folder, which means that we have permission to upload contents there. So we'll say uploads apps and then we'll name it as BusyBox itself. Then it's going to be using the java.io to be taking in the contents and then saving it there, and also be changing some permissions for it. Then it's going to check if it already exists. If it exists, it's not going to be saving the contents, but it's just going to be ignoring it. But if it doesn't exist, it's going to save it there. So once it saves there, it's going to be running the BusyBox file and it's going to be connecting back to us on the same port number 999 by giving an SH shell to be accessing. So that is the overview of this Java file that we will be pasting into our Java exploit.java file. So I will paste that in here, then X, Y, and enter. But before I basically run this, let me just compile it. Let me come here and then copy this code of compiling it. It'll replace by itself. What I will do here is I will also copy a BusyBox binary. Now, how do I get a BusyBox binary? Either you can Google search something like BusyBox binary and you will be getting that. the first link here itself. Here, I guess you should get it. I guess BusyBox server is a little slow, but in my case, I already have it downloaded in my tools folder. I'll just copy the BusyBox contents to this. So Pranava tools and then BusyBox. I'm just copying it here, and I have my BusyBox binary file ready to be uploaded. So I anyway have the same folder which is hosted by my HTTP server. I have my LDAP server running, and I have my listener ready to be listening for any incoming requests. Yeah, I get this page here of BusyBox. You can come down here to any of the versions of BusyBox that you want to download. That's taking too much of time. Okay, so what I will do here is come back here, then go back, and then to the home, then choose a file. Then I will choose the log4j1.xml, which is nothing but calling up the exploit.class file. So I'll say log4j1.xml. So it's just going to be calling up the LDAP server, which will do our job of connecting back to the system here. Okay, so I will upload that one. Click on open. That has chosen. So we see that it has redirected to the exploit.class, and we also see that it has got the busybox file and the exploit.class, and we also see that we got a shell back to our system, which is good. So if I say ls, it says a bin and all those things, also user.txt, which is our first flag of this task. So yeah, it has some contents inside it, so we get the first flag there. That's good. So you can upload it there. Where is the file? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, yeah, you can just click on the busy box and it'll ask you where do you want to download it. You can use it from here. I'm not going to showcase that, but yeah, that is the first flag of today. Going to the second, it says, can you find Bob's flag? And it says, hint, rumor has it that Bob was researching a certain CVE. Okay, that's a interesting hint. So what does that tell us? Let's go to the uploads and see what we have here. We just see our all the XML files that we have uploaded is to be present here. That's good. So cd to the home, I mean to the root directory, and ls we see app bin dev home. Going to the home, ls we see Bob. Very excited to see what is there in Bob's home. ls, oh, nothing. So ls la, still nothing. Okay. And yeah, I was doing some digging around and then got to know that this particular environment is on a Docker, because I can see it to say Docker environment. So which means that currently our session is present in a Docker environment and not exactly the client or the container of this Docker container that we are working with. So we need to be working with the host of the system to be able to actually enumerate into the Bob's user. How shall we do that, right? So first thing is we need to get the address of the client that we are working with. So let me just adjust my terminal views. Yep. And yeah, even this shell is really bad to be working with. So what we'll do is let's go to the apps folder where we got the busy box and then cd uploads. Here I can see all the file contents here. Now the thing with the busy box is that busy box gives us the ability to run many more codes also, such as to get some IP address of the target systems, right? So what I will do is I'm afraid to run the control L to basically clear the terminal, because I don't know how the shell is going to behave. But I just hope that you are all able to see the commands. Let me change the view of the terminal. That would be better. Uh, Let me reduce the size and bring it to the top. Hey, no, come on. Come to the top. Let me reduce this more. And yeah, I hope it's visible. Once I get a better shell, I'm just going to showcase it in a better way. Okay, so I'll say busy box, and I'll ask for IP. Yeah, if I just type the IP route, I get nothing. So if I just type IP or IP all, I get no information out. But what I will do is if I say busy box dot slash busy box, and now I say IP route get one. So basically I'm just looking at the IP address of the host. That's why I just want to say get one. I see that this is connected through the host IP address, and this is the container's IP address, and this is the host's IP address, which is good. Okay, which means that this has an access to the client system. Basically, there's some proxy through the system and the container that we are working with. But there's no other way to enumerate here. That you cannot use any fancy tools or anything like that. But only way to exploit is to probably have something like an nmap to see what ports are available in the client system or the host system, and if there are any useful ports that we can work with, maybe we need some tools like chisel to be able to get the information back from there, right? So how do we do that? We exit from this session, and then similar like the exploit.java, we will write another Java code where we will be uploading both of these codes into the system and then getting us a reverse shell back again. So I will run the listener back again and come here to modify the code. So I will remove the exploit.java code, then say exploit. Instead of class, I will say Java, and then paste this contents inside there. That's good. Let me modify this. The attacker IP address. Oh, that went too far. Okay. I'll replace this with my IP address, which is 10.17.18.22. XY enter. So what exactly it is doing, let me open up this, replace the contents to be this. Okay, so zooming in, it takes the similar thing of taking the attacker's IP address, then it's going to combine it for the web browser. It's going to identify what is the port of the web browser, I mean not the web browser, the web server which is hosting these files. So that's my attacker's web server that we have hosted with Python up in the top here. Then it's going to know the uploads folder. That's where we have saved our contents, which is the uploads folder. That's why we have the access to download things. And then we have the tools which we want to download, which is the nmap and the chisel. So nmap is another binary which you can download it by googling. You just need to Google search, or you will find the binaries in my web server. I will just host it somewhere. Under the section of tools, I will host this nmap and chisel and all the other binaries there. So I will say nmap and then chisel. Chisel is another tool which is useful for connecting from one source to another. It basically acts as a channel for communicating between two Docker containers and any other external services. Okay, so the original intention is not that, but yeah, we'll be using it for that. So nmap and chisel, it's going to be uploading that. It's going to be taking one by one. It's going to be uploading one by one. If it exists, it's going to just continue. But if it doesn't, it's going to save it there. So once both of these tools are downloaded into the target system, it's going to be executing our busy box and then connect back to our shell. That's what we want it to happen. So we have that Java code now. Let's compile that. I will say Java. And then, yeah, not this. Not this too. How do I compile it? Oh my God. I forgot. Let's go back to this server here and copy this, paste it in here. That's it. That's a simpler thing. So, okay, we get an error here, which means that I need to modify the exploit .java file, and rename this to match the name of the file. So exploit xy, enter, and ls. Good, that seems to be fine. Now let me run it. Yeah, it got compiled. So we have the exploit.class, which is the new one. Now let me copy the binary files, Pranava Rao, and then tools, nmap, and to here. Uh, nmap without a directory. What is it? I'm not able to understand. Let me go to that folder itself. Tools, ls. Yeah, nmap is here, right? Why didn't it just copy it there? Okay, whatever. So Pranava Rao, then TryHackMe, YouTube, and then Shaker. I'll just paste it there. Cannot overwrite a directory with a non-directory nmap. What? Wait, 1 second. Let me kill this itself and see what is happening here. Oh, okay. There's a folder called as nmap, uh, which I guess I don't want now. So wait, I'll move this folder nmap to something like nmap1 and a folder. Okay, now it should do the job. Basically, it was trying to go for the folder nmap. That was the objection of it. So if I come here and do ls, I'm able to see the nmap folder. That's good. Oh. Oh, okay. What's happening? Yeah, this is my terminal. Okay, good. So what else do I want? I want chisel, so I'll copy chisel to the same location, Pranava Rao, and then tools. No, not tools. Sorry, TryHackMe itself. And then to the YouTube Shaker. That's it. Okay, so that should be enough. Let me come back to the same folder here. I see chisel, nmap, and busybox to be present there. Now let's start up the Python server, which we initially had here. Python server is running. That's good. So we have our explorer.class. We have our listener here. We have our LDAP server here. All that we have to do is now to upload the same file that we were uploading consistently from them, or just refresh the same old file and resend. That should take it from here. You can see that nmap is uploaded, chisel is uploaded, and anytime now we should get the connection back. Yes, we got the connection back. That's good. Oh, that's great. Now what I will do is I'll go to the uploads folder, and ls we see the nmap file there. That's good. Let me make the browser a little small, so that, sorry, the terminal a little small, so that you'll all be able to see the commands right. Here what I will do is, I hope I have the right permissions to be able to execute it. Just a second. Yeah. So I'll say nmap and then all the ports of our target system. Forgot to copy the IP address. This is the IP address. Let's copy. This is the main host of the system. So I will press enter, and that should start scanning for all the ports of the target system. Okay, so directly we get it off. We get the port 22, we get the port 8080 and port triple or 48s. Okay, which is unknown. Port 22 is basically for SSH service. Yeah, still now we don't have the username and the password, but port 8080 looks like something like a proxy basically, because any understanding of that, you will say that it's a proxy itself of the container to the, I mean, Docker container to the host system. That could be a proxy address of port 8080, but port 4 times 8, I don't know what this is, right? So uh, could be something. Let's figure it out. That's why let's run this tool called as chisel. If you can see here, it basically acts as a client to connect two different systems and two different networks. It gives us a ability to port forward into different networks. So I will run that. I'll open another terminal here. That terminal became too messy. Let me go to the tools folder. So Pranava Rao and then tools ls, and let me say dot chisel, run a server on port 9988, and then I will say I need a reverse connection to it. So this should do it. Permission denied. Okay, chmod, make it an executable file, chisel, and run the above command. Okay, so it's listening on port 9988. So it's going to be listening for any incoming requests from the chisel client. So this is running. Let me open up here and then run this command of connecting to our server. So it's basically client which is connecting. So chisel and then client, it tells the attacker's IP address and the port number that we are listening, which is the port number 9988. That's what is here, the IP address and the port number. And the reverse connection of port 48s. Yeah, this is the reverse connection of 48s into the, sorry, this is the reverse connection that the I as attacker wants to receive on all the 48s. And this is the address of the target system that this service is hosted. So the client's IP address at this port is what I want to get as a a reverse connection. So that's what this chisel is going to be doing. So I'll press enter and I get a listening request here. That's good, which is amazing. So if I browse to my local host address to that port, if I say 127.0.0.1 on port 8888, yeah, is that 48? Yeah, it's 48. I get an error called as white label error page. I don't know what this is. So I Google it. One second. Okay, so I Google this. I'll copy this, and when I just Google it, it says that this white label error page is because of some uh, unable to accept the or unable to handle the request by some Tomcat servers and something called as Spring Boot, right? So it's the Spring Boot error whenever it requires or whenever it receives any incoming request which has no meaning or which it doesn't is not able to handle it. It gives this error because there is no default page which is meant for handling any uh, error pages. For example, if you go to my site and if there are any other pages which doesn't exist and you try to browse it, for example, I say pranava.php. If it is not there, it gives a 404 page, right? So something similar to that itself, but it doesn't exist here. So it's giving a white label error page. So that's what is the meaning of that page means. So okay, uh, but doesn't give any much informations to work with us, right? So what I will do is I will use curl to understand about what are the headers of it and all those information regarding the site that we are dealing with. So I will say -x and then options. Did I type the spelling right? I have my notes here basically just so that I don't go off track and then waste everyone's time with figuring out with the commands. So okay, one and then port 888 VV. So yeah, what basically I did is I gave it an X option. You can look at the man page of curl to understand what it is. -x. Let me just search for it. -x. Yeah, it's basically the way of requesting the page. Let's just go through it. Yeah, it's the method of request. They change the method to use when starting the transfer. Okay, yeah. So curl passes a vertical string. You can give it in the request without any filter or other safeguards. So it's basically the way of I trying to communicate to the target system or the target website. But basically what I want to look at here is what exactly is bothering this. Why is this connection failing, right? So it gives us all the information here, what is the user agent and all those things. But here it somewhere says it requires XAPI version. So it's basically looking forward for receiving some header where it says it's an X API version, 1, 2, or 3, or whatever X API version that is. It's just looking for that thing. So what I will do is, with the curl itself, I will say -h and then pass it whatever it requires, which is the X API version. So I'll copy, paste it, and then I will give it as maybe a version 1 or something like that. And then I will give the address to be 127.0.0.1, then port 888. Yeah, that's right. Now I get the reply saying hello world, which is good. Which means that it was all that it was expecting was a header of saying X API version, or anything like that in that parameter, and we get the output. So again, I was stuck here. I did not know what exactly to do. So went to the community back, spoke to the people there, and all those things. They told me that, hey, look, this room was built again during the time when Log4j was a big buzzword. So why don't you just keep that in mind and then try something with it? So I was like, Log4j again here. I mean, okay, but there's no input parameter that you can anywhere enter, right? But that's what this was. This is the header. So this technically accepts any input. For example, if I give 2, it just accepts 2 as an input for it. But if I don't give anything, it doesn't work, right? It says bad request. But if I give some input, such as I had specified 1 there, let me just come back here. Come on, keyboard, please stay with me, don't die. Okay, and if I say 2 here, it gives some output. Basically, it's asking for some output there, which was interesting. So what I thought is, why not I upload some Log4j payload here itself, right? That would be a best version to be exploiting the Log4j vulnerability. So I just copy this payload and then paste it in here. This is nothing the default exploitation page or exploitation code of Log4j. I just press that and then press enter. Unrecognized modifier, what do you mean by that? I guess it doesn't like the double quotes. So yeah, let's go change that up. Okay, this seems to be working because oh, I also messed up this one, the close brackets. Let's modify that too. Hey, come on. There's some issue where by constantly pressing the arrow keys, it just moves in that direction itself. It doesn't stop. Yeah. So yeah, in both the cases, we got the same output error, which says something such as the time, and then it says 418 error. I am a teapot, which is funny. I'm a teapot. Again, I did not know what this error means, but basically, if I Google this error called as I am a teapot, you will find it so strange that, wait, what is I'm a teapot error? Okay, so I'm a teapot error is known as a HTTP status code. 418 is a humorous and non-standard HTTP response code. It's a playful reference to the idea that the server or the application might be a teapot and thus unable to handle requests involving coffee brewing, which doesn't make any sense. But the original meaning is that, and if you go to this page, it says some websites uses response to request that they do not wish to handle such automated queries. So what is exactly happening is there is some kind of filter which it is disabling me from trying to load up this contents or this uh, page or this LDAP and all these things. So I thought, okay, what if I try to bypass this by using the same method which I used earlier, right? So let me go to this part. Yeah, so what I will do is I will replace this. No, I'll just copy the command itself. It'll take too much time for me to just write that in. So I will do this. I just hope my camera was not in the way. Okay. Yeah, so what I'll do is I will use this bypass query to try and see if I will get back the connections. So pressing enter, it says hello world, which means yeah, that was the problem. It knew that this thing is a payload and it had a filters associated to it, and it says hello world. But what happened? Did I get any requests or anything like that? Let's come back to this terminal here, and okay, zooming everything back again. Let's make sure that everything looks fine. Okay, let me send this query again. So you can see that there's just chisel taken up and the query there. So if I run the same command once again, I get a request to my LDAP server, and it also forwards me to the port 8000 for exploit.class, but never reaches here. Okay, so it doesn't reach here. There is no request for exploit.class happening here in my server, which means that LDAP is not being used by this server in the backend. So we need to figure out some other way of communicating to the system other than just LDAP directly. So yeah, for that, if you come back to the again the Solas room from TryHackMe, which was written by John Hammond, under the section of bypasses, here John mentions something about RMI. So note that use of RMI protocol, the last one, this is also another valid technique that can be used with Marshall utility. Feel free to experiment. So yeah, but what happened is I tried with it. I went down the rabbit hole. The RMI method of RMI is basically something like LDAP itself, but a different service method. But it did not work with Marshall. So I had to find another tool for it, which I did, which was called as, if I'm right, it was called as JNDI exploit kit, right? I mean, let me bring up my notes. Why am I keeping it aside? Yeah, this is my notes. So it talks about the RMI. The same thing is uploaded in my blog post. So you can just go there and also copy the commands and use those things. But yeah, so I'm using now for exploiting this something called as JNDI exploit kit. I'll just search that in Google. Let's come here and then search it. Yeah, this is the same GitHub page. What you can do is you can just clone this repository and follow. That's it. You just copy that. We don't need the Marshall server now. So I will kill that session and move a step folder back. And here you can see something called as JND exploit kit. That's what I'll be using now. So JND exploit kit. And here I will set up a new server for me to be running the RMI server, right? So let me bring down everything. This has a default ability to just connect back to us. So yeah, the command is a little strange. I'll just copy and then paste it here and then explain that. Yeah, so it says Java and then uses all the Java things of the tool. Okay, which again you'll find the commands in the GitHub repository itself. So the main thing that I wanted was the bash, and I'm specifying that my remote connection is present at 4455. That's where I want, in case if there's any request given to it, it should come and communicate for the reverse shell at 4455. That is the port number, and then nothing but a reverse connection to the RMI server of 1389. That's the default thing, and the output is of RMI. So that's the server that I want. So pressing enter, it generates payloads for us to be working with. So all these payloads are specified for each services and the way they're going to be working. So in my case, I'll be using this one. So the first one, so whose trust URL code is false, and have Tomcat plus and Cyper Spring Boot. Yeah, because we had Spring Boot, right, with the white page error. So I'll be using this version of the payload to get a reverse shell. So we'll copy this code Okay, that is the code which is important for us to run. And let's probably kill this session of oh no, I'll start a netcat session here itself. So hyphen lvnp, and then I will say 4455, press enter. And now I will modify my code. Let me just copy this, copy selection, then come back to my curl page here, then modify this. Instead of the exploit, I'm going to be calling out the code which it has provided me, and instead of ldap, I want rmi. So I'll change that to mi and then r. So yeah, this should be just it. If I press enter, it says hello world. And if I scroll down, I can see the server log. It has said that it got a request and it has also closed the connection. But down here, I have got the shell of Bob. Oh, wow. ls. Okay, let me go to the home directory of Bob. Home, ls. I see Hydra, I mean the same user. And the Bob, cd Bob, ls. Here we go. We get the user's flag. Word count of user.txt. We get the flag of Bob, which was, wow, incredibly amazing. This is good, right? So we have got a shell access, but this is very unstable shell that we are working with. And right now we have an opportunity, I guess, because if I do ls la, and I can see .ssh folder. So if I go to .ssh and cdls, I can see we have authorized keys. So authorized keys, keys, be very careful with that. So cat authorized keys. We can see the authorized keys of Bob to be able to connect to the system, which is good. What we'll do is let's modify this because we have the permission to write it. So it says read and write it. So we will modify this and get a SSH connection to the system. That's a better way. So here itself, under the tools, let me change my directory. Let me go to Pranava Raf, and then TryHackMe, and then YouTube. Come on, Shaker. Yeah, just a second. I'll just take a sip of water. Okay, so what we'll do is let's generate some SSH key pairs to be able to connect to Bob. So I will say SSH keygen, and then hyphen t. I'll say RSA. So this is the method of generating private keys. So it says enter file name to save the keys. So I will give the current location, which is home Pranava Rao, and then Pranava __ Rao hyphen slash TryHackMe. Then YouTube. Let me get the spelling right, and then Shaker. Yeah, now I'll say Bob. That's fine. So pressing enter, I don't need any passphrases. That has generated the file, so I can see Bob and bob.pub. Okay, so if I say cat bob.pub, which is the public key of Bob, I have the public key, which means it has basically generated a key pair with my system's connections, saying that if you get any request from this particular user, just authenticate them. So that's what is the purpose of modifying it. So I'll copy the public key and come here to this terminal and echo. Okay, I need to place it in here. Then I will say put this inside authorized underscore keys. Be very careful here. That has done it. ls cat authorized cat authorized underscore keys. Yeah, I see my contents there, which is good. So now what I will do is I will SSH from here itself. So SSH no Bob at yeah, I need the IP address of the system now. So come here. So we probably got 40 minutes. We don't need 40 minutes, by the way. Yeah, paste that in, and I will specify the file to be uh, Bob. Yes. Okay. Now I'm logged in as Bob. So I have a secure shell now that I can work with. So if I say sudo hyphen L and look at what permissions do I have, it says, oh, I need Bob's password, which I don't have. So I'll just exit from that. Come on. Yeah. Uh, okay. What else I can see? I want to see the ID. What am I part of the group? So I see that I'm part of the Docker group. Oh, which means I can just access Dockers and Docker containers and then all this stuffs by not requiring the sudo privileges there. So what I will do is I will look for what Docker images are present. So Docker images, images. Sorry, yeah, and I see that we have a Docker called as Shaker, which is probably the same container that we're working with, right? So with this I can get a privileged access. If I say that I want to be accessing the Docker Shaker, sorry, yeah, the Docker Shaker with the root privileges, but I want all those contents to be present in my file. So if I do that, if I say that to the system, then I'll probably become a root user because I'm a part of the Docker privileges, that group there. So what I will do is I will copy this command and then paste it in here. What that actually means is it says Docker to run -v is the option, and then it's going to be mounting to the location mount, then rm, and I'm choosing the user to be user, which is root and root in my case as well as the system's case, and then it to basically access the shell of it, and then shaker, then bin sh, which is the shell that I want to access. So by pressing enter, I get a shell back in app, which is exactly the folder where we were in the container. And if I say who am I, okay, it doesn't know the command who am I. Anyway, that's fine. But I've said that I want to mount, I want the contents to be in the root contents to be present in the mount directory. So if I go to cd slash and then cdmnt and look at the contents here, I see root to be there. So cd root ls and the root.txt file. Wow, that's great. So word count root.txt. No. Yep. Yeah, so that is it. I hope this machine was fun. We got the root flag now. This took me a quite while. I took a lot of help from the community of TryHackMe, great people to be talking to. In fact, they guided me. I was stuck in a lot of places. So, nothing. If you want to, you can just join. The link is there in their website and all the places. I don't have to talk about it. And but yeah, try Acme if you're watching this video, and if you're interested, you can, you know, where to reach out to me for maybe some sponsorship or something like that. Okay. Right now, this video is not sponsored. I'm just doing it because I love to do this. Yeah. Let's see. Let's probably collaborate with TryHackMe sometime in the future. So yeah, I hope you did like this video. There's a lot of things to learn. This Log4j is a whole new thing that we can actually do a video about and then discuss what exactly it is and then how do you exploit and all those things. We'll probably go through the Solar's room, which the John Hammond has written. Let's see. Let's do something like that. There are a lot of plans from my end. Let's execute all of them. So yeah, hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please hit on that like button. Hack YouTube's algorithm in a very ethical way. That's the only way you can hack YouTube, by hacking its algorithm, by hitting on that like button, by commenting down below. And if you're new to this channel, to subscribing to my channel. Basically get the YouTube knowing that we are here. We are building a community. We are learning hacking here. So yeah, that's the only way how you can hack YouTube's algorithm. Please do hack it. Please hit on the like, share, and subscribe button, or all those things. Do all those YouTube algorithm stuff. And if you want to suggest something, want to tell me something, want to advise me something, you can always use the comment box down in the below. I'll reach out to you, don't worry. Or you can even join my Discord server, where we are building a huge community of people where they can come and share their queries or some posts about it. Hope to see you there at least, right? Okay, then, till then, stay happy, stay hacking, stay smiling. Bye bye.